The reason I train on the heavy bag without gloves and wraps is not anything about being tough. It is simply about protecting myself, protecting my own body from injury. We're taught in our style of karate, rute, that you don't hit with a clenched fist, okay? There's a lot of reasons not to hit with a clenched fist. One, a clenched fist is everything's tight, everything's at the point of collapse. It can only collapse from here. The other thing is, clenched fist causes you to slow down. It causes your hands to be slower. So open hands are much faster, right? And there's very little arguing about that. You can test that for yourself. Loose, relaxed hands and arms and body are all allow for much faster movement. The other thing is we do a lot of open hand. So we do a lot of open hand catching and blocking and trapping. So for us, training with that hand always open, even when it's a punch, is sort of a key part of rute. Now, going back to how you're protecting yourself. Like I said, with a clenched fist, you're at the point of collapse. It's Taika would say, if you can lift, if your max is 225 on the bench, and somebody put 5 more pounds on that as you're pressing it, you would collapse. It's the same kind of concept. You're at the maximum tightness. Any additional pressure, and especially on those weird angles, is going to help that collapse. With an open hand punch, none of this is tightened up. So you have room to flex. So if you do hit at a weird angle, everything internally can flex because your fingers can naturally open. You're not pinning them down, you're not pressing them, and your brain's not keeping it pressed together despite the pain, right? So when you punch with an open hand, let's get here, I don't have to tell my hand to close itself, to tighten into a fist when it makes impact. The human body does that naturally. But what you want to train, or what at least I try to train, is I try to train to hit with a nice relaxed hand, that's always kept slightly open, just slightly touching the palms. Hi. Pressing through. So that way, anytime I come off at a weird angle, it doesn't matter. And in fact, in our style, we do hit at weird angles intentionally. So, because we want the hip pressure to go in different directions. But very simply, hit. Keeping that structure, keeping the bone-on-bone alignment from the knuckles. But again, if that alignment fails, you have the flexibility in your wrist and you won't damage your wrist. Especially, and again, thinking about you grapplers who may be coming in and want to transition from a grab to a hit because it's there. An excellent, keeping those hands loose and open, you can transition to that hit versus coming. Our tendency when we want to punch with a closed fist is to want to draw back and then hit again. I almost hurt my wrist there just trying to do that. All right, so try that out. If you're worried you want to work out on the heavy bag, you're worried about wrist injury, give it a shot. Keep that nice, keep it loose, keep it aligned. And make sure that hand stays slightly open. I was just showing off there.